Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is anime day, and today you guys, we are going to be getting into one of my all-time favorite animes, okay? Bleach, okay? I don't care what nobody say, Bleach is the best anime and it will always be the best anime on the planet, okay? But in this in particular video, we are getting into Ichigo's confusing or complicated family tree, and we need to get into it because it's a lot going on. Like, it's a lot. But let's go ahead and hop right into this video, you guys.
Ichigo is the strongest Soul Reaper in all of Bleach, but to become the strongest in Bleach, you not only have to have skill, but also a strong bloodline. And while Ichigo, he's everything. Human, Hollow, Quincy, Reaper, even Fullbringer. All of that combined gave our boy immense power that could rival ancient beings such as Yowak, who claims Ichigo is one of his own children because all Quincy's are intrinsically linked back to their king as a sort of pseudo-child. This family history of Ichigo's is so special that Ichigo, the strongest and oldest Shimigami to exist, planned to make him the next Soul King. But Ichigo's story...
Wait, does he? Is that true, y'all? See, because I just watched the anime, okay? Like, I stopped reading mangas or whatever back in, I don't know, middle school? Yeah. So all of the stuff that I be getting now is just like solely from waiting for the shows to come out. He planned on making Ichigo the next Soul King because, see, I just finished watching part 3, you know, and I had to wait forever because I be so thirsty. I do not go and watch the show as soon as they release it. I'll wait until all of the episodes are available because I need to be able to go right to the next episode when it's going down, okay? And really, I was debating on even watching part 3 because, like, they take so long to release new, like, not just Bleach, but just, like, shows in general. They take so long to release new seasons that, like, I honestly, like, oh my God, I need to go rewatch the whole thing because, like, my memory just don't be being the best, okay? And I low-key forgot what happened in the last season that y'all took so long. So, yeah, I was debating on even just watching part 3 or waiting for part 4, and they need to hurry on with part 4 because I am just so thirsty, okay? But anyways, like, the last thing I saw on part 3 was that, what's his name? See, y'all see that memory? I got him in my head, but the name is not coming to me. Y'all know long white hair. And I've literally rewatched Bleach. I've rewatched the show like a million times at this point, and I could still rewatch it like I've never saw it before. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Dang, like long white hair. Remember, he was standing in as the Soul King or whatever while they were trying to get the affairs in order, you know, while the battle was going on and stuff. I didn't know they was trying to make Bleach the next Soul King, but I'm not surprised though because Bleach, like he said, is like literally everything. Like, he's literally everything under the sun, and like he's just, you know, super strong.
Starts with two people who are relatively normal, his sisters Yuzu and Karen. Whilst Karen became more involved with the spiritual side of Bleach due to having some dormant high Ryatsu, she never actually becomes a Soul Reaper or even attempts to, mainly because Ichigo wouldn't let her. Yuzu, on the other hand, has basically no Ryatsu at all, as over time each of Kurosaki's kids would gain less and less spiritual pressure, which is why Ichigo, the oldest, is basically God incarnate, and Yuzu, the youngest, is just a normal girl. In the beginning, Ichigo lived in relative peace with his two siblings and his dentist.
See, that's the part I don't get though. Why did Yuzu and Karen not really have no powers like that? I mean, Yuzu just, poor little Yuzu. Yuzu just ain't never had. Don't be knowing what's going on. She was never ever to see the, like, hollows or the ghosts. But all 3 of them are still, you know, products of a Quincy and a Soul Reaper. But if I'm not mistaken, right, Ichigo's mom, if I remember correctly, is not a full Quincy, right? She's like, no, yes, she is, because that's why Uryu's family had her move in, because they wanted him to procreate with her, whatever, to keep the bloodline pure. Now, it was the servant that was not a full Quincy that was in love with Uryu's dad, right? Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Had Ishin, who ran a local clinic in Karakura town. But unknown to Ichigo or his sisters, his parents weren't at all what they seemed to be, because Isshin Kurosaki's true name is actually Isshin Shiba, which is one of the most important names in all of Bleach, as the Shiba clan are part of the 5 noble clans of the Soul Society, which predates the 3 realms. Yup, that's right, Ichigo's bloodline existed before the current world order itself. We've already made a video on that whole lore, so I won't go too deep into it, but all you need to know is that these guys are super influential figures in the world of Bleach, but by the time of the main story, they're just doing their own thing, setting off fireworks. The Shiba clan was shunned because 2 of the most influential members, both part of the Gotei 13, met their end. One was Rukia's mentor and Ichigo's cousin, Kaien Shiba, who looks exactly like him.
So
he was a victim of Aizen's holification experiments, and
when I first excuse me, when I was watching Bleach and when I first was watching him before they had even, you know, that came out that he was related to Shiba. Remember, Rukia that was why she felt that attachment to Ichigo, because he that they literally purposely, all they did was redraw Ichigo with the orange hair. Like, he literally looks just like him.
Rukia was forced to kill him. As for Isshin, he was actually the Squad 10 captain, but everything changed when they found Ichigo's mom Misaki, who was actually a Quincy. You see, these 2 met when they both went to face off against Aizen's experimental Hollow White, where Misaki ended up getting hollowified. Now, unlike Shinigamis, who were turned into Vizards upon being infected by a Hollow, Quincy's just straight up die, as a Hollow is their natural counterpart. So in order to save his new Pookie, Isshin had to give up his Soul Reaper powers in order to essentially become Misaki's shield against.
Which is crazy when you think about it, because he literally had just met the girl and he was willing to like literally give up his life, really everything that he had already known, like
the Hollow consuming her, and so he became a normal human until the Arankar arc when his powers suddenly returned. Now Misaki is also broken AF, as she's one of the last living true-blooded Quincy's in the human world, through being related to the Ishida family, which therefore makes Ichigo and Uryu cousins.
Wait. Hold on now. Hold on. Clearly, I wasn't paying enough attention where I missed that part when I first watched it. So, they were about to do a little incest thing, right? Because Uryu's dad and Ichigo's mom was the last pure-blooded Quincy's, and they wanted them to, you know, get married and all of that and procreate, whatever, to create, you know, more. So they were gonna do a little incestual thing. Ooh, excuse me. I must have missed that part where they were cousins.
His departure from the Soul Society and Kaien's death led to the Shiba clan being outcast. That's why when Ichigo meets them in the Soul Society arc, they're exiled from the main part of the Serieti. It's also here where we get introduced to Kukaku and Ganju, who are both related to Isshin in some way, making them also Ichigo's family. With his connection to one of the OG noble families, if Ichigo was born in the Soul Society, he practically would have been royalty. But what's even more insane is the fact that the Hollow Isshin gave up his powers for actually transferred to Masaki's first child. Now, let's be clear here. White was far from your average Hollow. He was created by Aizen to purposefully be stronger than normal Hollows and corrupt Shinigami, also being made up of several Shinigami souls. Essentially, Aizen was using White as a way to make more Vizards like Shinji. Kisuke Urahara even warned Ichigo's parents that it would be passed down to her firstborn child. But I guess Misaki didn't give a fuck because she still got down with Isshin and popped out 3 kids. And so Ichigo just had this Hollow chilling inside of him, but not in the way anyone expected it to. You see, Ichigo's inner Hollow isn't just some sort of evil spirit hoping to gain control of him. No. The Hollow is actually Ichigo's guardian angel and is in fact his true Zanpakuto. What? What the fuck? You see, when White's hollow essence merged with Ichigo's soul, the inner hollow ended up taking the form of a Zanpakuto spirit. Old man Zangetsu even states that every time Ichigo was on the verge of death, it wasn't him who saved RMC, but the hollow. Take the battle against Byakuya at the Soul Society, or Ichigo's Vaste Lord transformation when fighting Ulquihira. They were both moments where Ichigo was on the verge of death, and so the hollow stepped in to protect its master. Okay, so now that we know Ichigo technically has 3 parents, Ishin, a Soul Reaper, Misaki, a Quincy, and White, a hollow, what if I told you it only gets more complicated? Ichigo actually had a 4th parent who is directly tied back to the Soul King. Yeah, of course, I'm talking about Yuaba. Like we said earlier, all Quincy's contain the blood of their king. It's what gives him the ability to use Blutvena and other Quincy attacks. It didn't matter whether you were a full-blooded or half-blooded Quincy. If you could summon blue bows of Reishi, you had a little bit of Yuaba inside of you. Consequently, this also means any Quincy was susceptible to the Orswallen or the ritual performed by the Quincy King to return the powers he granted to his people back to him. This is what led to both Ichigo and Ishida's mum's deaths. This idea of every Quincy being linked back to Yuaba is why when Ichigo first meets Zangetsu, he actually encounters Yuaba, or more accurately, a vestige of the Quincy King. Just as White had become Ichigo's Zanpakuto and therefore the source of his Shinigami powers, which he got from his dad, this Yuaba vestige was a representation of the Quincy.
You know, it's crazy because he literally looks just like him. Like when Yoruba or whatever first came, or you watch how they said first came on the scene, I was like, dang, he literally looks just like Zangetsu. Like the story is just getting better and better. Like, can y'all just make Bleach episodes? I'm pretty sure I already asked this, like, until, like, you know, I'm just no longer of this world. Like, I will literally be old, just like, baby, put Bleach on the TV for me, please. I will never be tired of it. I will never be tired of it. I don't care. Okay?
Powers Ichigo inherited from his mom. So you might be wondering why this dude told Ichigo he was Zangetsu. Well, it's actually for 2 reasons. Originally, he didn't try to hide anything. In fact, if you go back to Old Man Zangetsu's introduction, he straight up tells Ichigo his true name, but it's blacked out by ink. This is actually insane foreshadowing on Kubo's part, as this was a hint to Ichibei all the way back during the Soul Society arc. This man straight up blacked out Yuaba's name so that Ichigo couldn't see it. Secondly, since this vestige was a Quincy, it naturally despised the Shinigami. Yuaba's whole motivation stems from the fact that his father, Adonais, aka the Soul King, had the ability of the Almighty just like him. And despite foreseeing the creation of a world where life and death were separate, where his son's own people would be brutally massacred, the Soul King still went along with everything and became this mutilated cornerstone of the world. And who were the people who brutally murdered the people Yuaba held so dear? The Shinigami. More specifically, the original Gotei 13. So when Ichigo, the person this vestige of Yuaba cares about the most, started wielding this giant ass Zanpakuto, he said hell nah. He wasn't letting his precious Ichigo become a disgusting Soul Reaper. And so, using all his might, Old Man Zangetsu was able to seal away a majority of Ichigo's Shinigami powers, whilst also masking himself as his Zanpakuto spirit. Because if Ichigo ever became a true Shinigami, he would, you know, have to kill him. So for basically the entire series, Ichigo was using like 1/100th of his full power until Zangetsu finally accepts Ichigo for who he was and unseals his actual power, leading to the creation of his dual Zanpakutos. But once again, this links Ichigo back to the true Yuaba, who even calls our goat his son in the dark, which is basically him calling Ichigo an idiot for not understanding his true purpose as a Quincy. But hold on, because I am just rambling way too much here, so let's get back to the main point I am actually trying to make. Ichigo is related to his mother, Misaki, who was a true-blooded Quincy until White fused with her. This means that the Kurosaki bloodline was a family of Quincy's prior to Misaki's death when Ishin took on the name. With that established, it means that all of Ichigo's ancestors, at least on his mom's side, are true-blooded Quincy's, meaning they are linked a lot closer to Yuaba than most. Now, there are a lot of Quincy's, so it's unlikely that Ichigo is a direct descendant of Yuaba. Like, this man didn't get all naughty with Ichigo's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandma now, did he? However, this does mean that Ichigo is in fact related to Yuaba in some way, shape or form, as Old Man Zangetsu is visually proof that this dude has Quincy blood, only brought to its forefront after escaping Kilge's jail when the stern Ritter's spiritual pressure merged with Ichigo's own, awakening his latent abilities. This comes from Yuaba directly, by the way, and I would trust that the progenitor of an entire race with knowledge about his own species. So when we look at Ichigo's family tree, our goat is linked back to two insane bloodlines, both of which go back millions of years to before the conception of Bleach World as we know it. You have his father's side, which links back to the Shiba ancestor who was one of the elders responsible for Adonais' sealing, and then his mum's side, which goes back to Yuaba directly due to a pure-blooded Quincy heritage. But what makes things even crazier is that Ichigo is probably now, in some way, shape or form, a direct descendant of the Soul King. Before the 1000-Year Blood War anime, it was kind of unclear what the father-son relationship between Adonais and Yuaba was.
That's what I am ready to get to. See, I need to read the book. Because after watching part 3, I had so many unanswered questions. So they just chopped up the Soul King or this person. Like, how did this one person become the Soul King? Like, or even strong enough to be the Soul King, and then they decide, why did they even decide to make this person the Soul King? And then this is somehow the person that is, like, obviously in their world, their god, that is holding all the worlds together and keeping them intact. Like, what is, I have so many questions. Oh my gosh, like,
with the new flashbacks we got in Core 3, it gives us a much better idea of their relationship. In the anime, we see what is most likely the OG world of Bleach, as we see the Soul King creating the 3 worlds by forming 3 circular water ripples in a large body of water. Partially inside that body of water is Yuaba. In fact, we even see a young Yuaba crying, most likely due to witnessing the sealing of his father. We also see an adult Yuaba de-age back into a baby, leading us to believe that the Quincy King was actually around in the primordial world and was actually reincarnated into the new one as a shadowy baby who couldn't move or talk and over time slowly gained strength to become Yuaba. This means that there's probably a direct blood tie in between Yuaba and the Soul King, which therefore connects Ichigo back to the most powerful being in all of existence. So not only is this man part Soul Reaper, part Quincy, part Harlow, part Fullbringer and part human, he's also a descendant from 2 of the strongest lineages in the multiverse, one of which ties back to God himself. Like, seriously, you can't make this shit up. So yeah, like I said at the beginning of this video, Ichigo's bloodline is confusing and for a very good reason. Okay,
yeah, you guys, so my head is hurting, it's spinning. Like, I need to go study this chart. Like, it's a lot going on. Like, first of all, Ichigo is in a tough situation, okay, you guys? Like, I don't know if y'all understand. My boy Ichigo is in a tough spot, okay? So, like, he is finding out all of this information that he never knew about his family, first of all. And then also, as well, too, he is faced with having to basically fight off a piece of his bloodline, which are the Quincy's. And for the sake of, you know, saving the world, and I get it. But, you know, to be fair, if you're looking at it from both ends, they did the Quincy's bad. Like, they literally just, it's like literally like they, what do you call it? Dang, what do you call it? Like, they are basically just put them in, like, they massacred, like, dang near a whole race. Like, and you're surprised that they want revenge? Like, no, like, an eye for an eye, like, as far as I'm concerned. So Ichigo's in a tough situation, you know. Like I said, like, it's not surprising that they want to come back and get their revenge, because they basically drove them to dang near extinction. Like, Uryu has a right to be upset. And man, honestly, I wasn't even surprised, like, when Uryu, you know, seeing Uryu trade up on them. Now, it is, you know, possible for them to somewhere in there towards the end, like, oh, Uryu was just acting like he was with them the whole time. Y'all know, like, how they like to do on anime, you know. But he was really helping the Soul Reapers. But I wouldn't be surprised if that, like, they never did that or made that the case, because Uryu has always made it abundantly clear, like, he hates Soul Reapers. Like, they literally killed his granddad. I get it from the standpoint, too, where they were saying, like, the way the Quincy's weren't listening, because when they kill the Hollows, is basically messing up, like, basically the cycle of life or whatever. Like, they have no way of, you know, going through the correct cycle of rebirth and all that other stuff like that. So they came to the conclusion that, okay, we just got to get them up out of here and just, you know, all of them. And like I said, there's consequences to your actions. That's just how it goes. So, you know, they didn't face them in their lifetime, but look, now guess what? Now your descendants have to pay for your sins, basically. Like, that it is what it is. And you know what? One thing about me is, this is the main reason why I like anime. Because I'm a person, like, I don't know, maybe I just be thinking a little too deep. Like, and I don't even be trying to. I don't even think it's like thinking, it's not even thinking deep to me. Like, because it's just normal for me. Like, I like watching anime for the most part, mainly because of the storyline. So that is one reason why it doesn't. I can watch all kinds of anime. You know, it really doesn't matter if it's not a necessarily a anime where they're just fighting and stuff like that. Because like I say, if it has a good storyline, I'm invested. You know, I'm in it or whatever. And then two, anime is basically like a cartoon form of showing us like real life situations. You know, they have stories that you can literally tie into real life situations very easily, but it's just in cartoon form or whatever. And then also too, I like the fact that, you know, unlike real life, you know, they can bring the characters back some way, somehow they end up living or something, or it ends up going in their favor, or I don't know, time gets reversed and they get to live life how they want. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that you just wish you could do in real life that you can't. And it ends up being a happy ending or something, usually. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons that I like anime. And I was just saying that to say that with this whole thing with the Quincy's, and so the race of the Quincy's and then the race of the Soul Reapers and this whole little battle that they got going on and stuff. And then basically, you know, the humans are just getting caught in the crossfire. Like, they just getting caught in the crossfire. You can literally tie that into real life. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? When we talking about race and all of that and stuff like that in real life, like I said, like, this literally, like, when you look at this, like, you could literally tie the same story and just very easily, like, just watching, like, dang, you know, that's like, just like in real life. Like, there's consequences to your actions. I get it. I get both sides. Like, oh, well, we didn't do it. That was the old Soul Reapers. We weren't there when they did it, or we thought it was wrong, blah, 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 blah. So I get that point. I get that standpoint. But these people, family is still gone. You know, their whole race of people is dang near gone. Somebody has to pay for these actions. That's just how it works. Like, somebody has to pay for these sins. So that's why you just don't be running around here doing stuff all willy and nilly, because your kids might have to pay for your sins. You know, that's why they call it like a generational curse or something, maybe, you know, or, you know, you paying for the sins of your father and your mother. Yeah. So, yeah, I can see it from both sides. What's another thing too that I wanted to say? And then also too, how you could tie into real life, like, you know, how they got like I said, the Soul King, he is basically like God, you know, in this world of Bleach or whatever. Like he said, you saw him creating the 3 worlds and stuff like that. Like, I'm so invested. The main reason that I fell in love with Bleach, one, it was the first ever anime that I ever like really came across, Bleach and Inuyasha. But Bleach, like, mainly I fell in love with Bleach because I'm a person who've always, even as a child, questioned, like, you know, naturally, like most people do, or all of us really, I feel like question, like, the afterlife and, like, you know, this life and, like, what's the point of it all, and just really just trying to make sense of it all. And I get, like, people have their different religions and gods that they believe in, but I'm like, okay, but who created, you know, God, and then who created the person that created God, like, and then who created that person? It's a never-ending thing for me. Like, that's just the way my brain works. Like, how does this all... It's so much. Like, it's just so much that it just doesn't make sense to just say, no, these are just the facts. This is God. This is it. That's all. No, it got to be more to that. Like, because this is just, it's just, it's so much that I just don't even believe we could comprehend it, even if we tried to, okay? But, you know, the different religions that we have came up with as a human race is the best that they could do, so I get it. So, yeah, that was one of the main reasons that I personally fell in love with Bleach, because I love the way that they were, like, they, you know, do the storytelling, and basically the whole theme of Bleach surrounds around, like, you know, the world of the living, and then, like, you know, the afterlife and stuff like that, you know, with the soul society and all of that. Like, so, you know, as a younger, you know, as a child or whatever watching it, you know, I love that. You know, I feel like I really connected with it. Like, dang, like, you know, as far as something that, like, trying to make sense of it all in that area, I guess, if you get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I don't know, I'm thinking about doing like a separate video of, like, me just creating like a compilation of, like, the craziest moments in the Bleach. I don't know. I really want you to have to see, because But obviously that would be like after the series is over, because it was just like so much so far that has happened. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I got a lot to say, but okay, you guys, like, that's it for this video. If you guys made it to the end of the video and got, you know, through all of my rambling, thank you guys for watching, of course. And don't forget, you guys, I do post Monday through Friday, and for specific uploads, just check that down in the description box below. Bye.